The coronavirus pandemic has killed at least 7 million people in the past 3 years and profoundly damaged the world's economy. So it's not surprising that politicians and others want to know how it started and whether there's someone to blame.
We need to accelerate efforts to identify the origins of the COVID-19 pandemic.
While early suspicion focused on Wuhan's live animal market, some politicians began talking up the theory that the COVID virus leaked from a nearby research lab.
Have you seen anything at this point that gives you a high degree of confidence that the Wuhan Institute of Virology was the origin of this virus?
Yes, I have. Yes, I have.
Whether it was an experiment gone awry in a laboratory. It's important to know the answer to that.
That political debate, which is really about accusing other people of doing things wrongly or hiding things, all that does is make the scientific debate harder to engage in.
The debate has been bitter. US government agencies are divided, with some backing the natural origin theory, while the Energy Department recently concluded a lab leak most likely, but with low confidence. China's government hasn't helped resolve the question by being secretive and holding back key data until the last few days.
About 10 days ago, a colleague of mine I work with noticed that on an international website called GISA, that there were these strange links to some data. We then decided to just explore what they were, so we downloaded them.
This is all about the market in Wuhan, where the Chinese authorities traced the first cases. Professor Dominic Dwyer was a member of the World Health Organization team sent into Wuhan to investigate the origins of COVID-19.
Our impression of the market was that this was a very good place for at least amplification of the outbreak to have occurred. And clearly that's what happened. The question is it just the amplification or is it actually the origin? And of course, this is the bit that everyone wants to know.
Analysis of data from late 2019 and early 2020 found a virus hotspot in the market's southwest corner. People in this area tested positive for COVID-19 in December 2019. And in January 2020, after the market was closed, Chinese public health officials swabbed everywhere. These new data come from those swabs. Professor Eddie Holmes is a world-leading researcher into the origins and evolution of viral diseases.
Initially, the authorities in China said there was no wildlife in that market. We now know there was lots of wildlife in the market at exactly the right time.
Chinese authorities have been less than transparent about their findings back in early 2020, and they've been emphatic that there was no evidence of animal DNA.
It's inexcusable that we're waiting 3 years to have these data made available, because this could have changed the entire narrative of the last 3 years if we'd have known about this.
For the first time since the pandemic began, scientists were able to see what animals were around at the same time as the virus. It was like an edible zoo. Raccoon dogs, civet cats, badgers, weasels, and others.
Raccoon dogs are a particularly important species in this because we know that they are susceptible to the virus. So after SARS-CoV-2 emerged, they did experiments to see which animals could actually be infected and shed lots of virus. And raccoon dogs are one of those. In fact, they can shed lots of SARS-CoV-2.
What happened next sounds like something from the pages of a mystery thriller.
And then a few hours later, the data was deleted. Every single sample was removed from this website.
Now, just finding animal DNA on the swabs doesn't prove that the virus came from the animals. But that link became much clearer in data published earlier today by Eddie Holmes and his colleagues. In some areas, there was almost no human DNA alongside the coronavirus.
Best example is a cart right next to the animal store that I photographed in 2014. If you then look at the other DNA in that cart, what you find is there's lots of raccoon dogs, there's a variety of other species too in there. but there's absolutely no human DNA. It's all animal. Now, if that virus in that cart sample came from a human, you would expect human DNA to be there.
It's not the silver bullet or the magic bullet here, but it's a significant step forward to see an association between the virus and animals that we know that can be infected in the virus.
This is the biggest piece of data we've had for a very long time, almost since the pandemic started, pointing to where the origin actually is. I don't think we'll ever convince some people the lab theory is incorrect, and I think they'll hold on to that for a long time. I'm hopeful that most people will see these data and just look at it reasonably and say, aha, that's the most likely explanation for it.